us. And for those who are joining us again, I'd like to welcome you, of course, to FPL Radio Weekly Show. You can subscribe to our YouTube page. You can join us on any of our social media. So, usual at that's Mr. Mayor is currently not available, so he will be joining us this evening. But then I'm happy to see Pilot. So you are going to be a passenger for this show today. However, I'm not going to be alone on the show today. I've got my co-pilot, the one who so many people in this part of football in general have christened what you call FPL Sensei. His name is no other person than Babajide. Good evening, bro.
Yes, good evening, Lanway, and good evening to all our listeners. It's a very good pleasure to have you on board for yet another interesting review session, and where we get to talk about different subjects, not limited to only FPL, but even specific events across the entire footballing world. We're looking forward to having another insightful and educative session, and we can't but thank you for taking the time out to be part of this show. Thank you, Lanley, and good evening to you as well, Mayor. It's good to have you on board again. I know it wasn't a very interesting time for Manchester United over the weekend, but at least you're able to summon the courage to still join the show this time around.
15 security boys there.
Okay, so Mayor is good to join us. How you doing? Aside the thrashing you received on Sunday, so how are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. I'm very fine, thank you, guys. It was a very interesting weekend. It was a weekend of highs and lows, of do's, don'ts, the highs, the nays, and the I should have known and had I known. So, it was a very interesting weekend. It was actually a good weekend of football. We there was, loads of games, loads of interesting results, and yes, Man U, as always, was Man U. That's a completely different topic, but all the same, we love the sport, we love the game. I hope ETH will get to see the podcast and will know how I am feeling, because I think my feeling matters a lot at this point.
Interesting. Mayor's feeling matters. Okay. So yesterday, like you actually had, we'll be talking not just FPL, other football. I'll be touching events that happened over the weekend at the end of the transfer window with so many movements in the EPL that, of course, we know will shaping up how you set up your FPL team in the coming weeks. So we also be reviewing, dedicating a special section to our own mini league where we are going to be reviewing our top performers. We'll be celebrating our manager of the month and manager of the week. They would also be joining us on the show later today. We'll be talking about all that bits on football as well. But talking about football, last week we pretty much dwelled on the Victor Osimhen transfer saga. I mean, at the time when we did this show last week, we were unsure of what his future holds. But I can confirm that he's going to move to Galatasaray on loan, probably till the end of the season. We can only find out. Babajide, you're a big fan of Osimhen, so what do you think of this move?
First, are you so sure that I'm a big fan of Osimhen? A lot of my friends and colleagues outside there would, disagree with that. But I think yes, I'm a big fan of any efficient footballer that is able to get the job done. Whether you are a center forward, you're a defender, or you are a creator in the team. About the case of Osimhen specifically, it came as a very big shock. As like you rightly said, at Saturday, while we're talking about the closure of the transfer window in the major leagues in Europe, we weren't so sure of where Osimhen was going to end at. We're thinking that possibly he would eventually end up at the Saudi Arabia League, but something changed, and then is now going to join the might of the Turkish football in Galatasaray. But maybe to just give some context around what happened, that even made the transfer of Osimhen to Chelsea to even fall through in the first place. As reported, Osimhen had two different options, or maybe I should say three as of the time, right? The first one was whether I wanted to stay back at Napoli, but of course, Antonio Conte the new manager of Napoli, already made it very clear that he would not have any plan for Osimhen, especially when he had already brought on board Lukaku on a permanent deal from Chelsea. So Osimhen was literally left with two different options, which he had to tag along with. The first one was to Chelsea, the other one was to the Saudi League. On the part of the Chelsea, because Osimhen extended his deal at Napoli just December 2023, his release clause was taken to 130 million euros. So at that point, it was very interesting to see that Chelsea could agree on that buyout clause for Osimhen. But somewhat also interesting is the fact that it was pretty difficult to agree the personal deals and wages with Victor Osimhen. I think it was even reported. Of course, you can choose whether to believe that or whether to debunk that rumor, that what Chelsea was offering was about £150,000 per week, which was considerably lower than what he was getting at Napoli. By the time he extended his deal with Napoli, it was later placed on about 250,000 euros per week with Napoli. So he and his agent, Roberto Calenda, there was literally no way for them to drop down on that wage demand. On the flip side of it, the option of Saudi Arabia, he had that option to go there too. And the funny thing is that where Chelsea was able to agree with Napoli, but they couldn't agree with Osimhen, the Saudi League was able, the Saudi Arabian club was able to agree with Osimhen on his personal wages, but they could not agree on the buyout clause with Napoli. And you look at all the different expenses that all of these Saudi clubs had been making in recent times, and you begin to wonder what was so difficult in getting Osimhen out for 130 million euros. But you could say that they had their own priority, and maybe they were also trying to play on the fact that Napoli already made it known that they had no plan for Osimhen to be part of their team, and they didn't want to also go as far as what Napoli was requesting. But it's okay. He's heading to Galatasaray now, and I think something that will also excite or be of interest to our listeners is to know that yes, he signed a loan deal to the end of June 2025. But there's a particular clause in that deal, based on what was also reported, as by January, I think he scribbled down like 10 different clubs. And I want to believe Chelsea is also amongst those clubs, that if any of these clubs comes for his signature in January, then Galatasaray has the responsibility of letting him go. And while he was also doing that, he also at least just to protect the interest of Napoli as well, it's important to point out that he also extended his deal with Napoli till 2027. And what is now very, very significant this time around is that his initial buyout clause of 130 million euros has now been drastically reduced to 75 million euros, or for an English club, that would be 63 million pounds. So it makes it easy for him at least to finally get his act away from Napoli and get a permanent deal one way or the other come January. So we see how he settles into the Turkish league. He's a bundle of talent. His records are very well proven. He had that very wonderful season with Napoli, and he and Kvaratskhelia were very instrumental to Napoli getting their very first Scudetto title in 33 years. We'll see how he takes to the Galatasaray team and how he settles in the Turkish league. Because he's also one of us, we're hoping that he has the best of time and he settles as quick as possible, such that we can use that as a lifting platform for him to get something bigger afterward.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Babajide. Well detailed analysis of transfer saga of Victor Osimhen. So looking at the other interesting part of that transfer, the move for Saudi did not work out, but it worked out for one of our, I won't say the most popular FPL forward, Ivan Toney, right? He moved to Al Hilal as well. So that's one prolific forward less in FPL. So do you think we are going to miss a striker like Ivan Toney, not just EPL, but in the FPL world? Do you think?
Without a doubt. And I think you do not want to blame Ivan Toney for taking the time or the decision to say that maybe this is not the time for him to go to the Saudi league. of course, his record for Brentford, and now he was able to take to the Premier League like a duck to the water, well documented. It led Brentford to that promotion under Thomas Frank. And ever since that time, it's been a very crucial part of whatever good thing that Brentford has been able to achieve. Their retention, even in the league, and it's been, that has been there. Of course, there was a time that he had that issue with betting and, suspension and things like that. And maybe that, to a very large extent, affected his form. And when you look at how Brentford have been able to even manage in his absence with Yumbelmo and Brown Wissa trying as much as possible to lift that responsibility for Brentford, it made it look like they weren't going to really miss him. And at that point in time, even though Brentford did not want to let go of him, but I felt at the age of 28, it felt maybe that at the next point of call for him to find a different environment entirely and see how he can, at least get some quids in his pocket, and with a deal that is reportedly supposed to earn him on a weekly basis £400,000, 400,000 euros rather. Come on, I don't think that's a bad deal. And don't forget that even at the just concluded Euros, it was part of the English team that, at least did reasonably well at that competition. I will see how he handles that in the next 1 or 2 years. Maybe his case will be like that of Steven Bergwijn, who also joined the Saudi Arabia League, that Dutch international. And then his coach, Ronald Koeman, said that at that age of 25, 26, he doesn't expect Bergwijn to join the Saudi Arabia League. Doing that means that his case or his chapter is closed as far as the national team is concerned. We want to see whether the English team will also follow suit and allow Ivan Toney to still be part of their setup, or in moving to the Saudi Arabia League, it will also be a case of his chapter being close to the national team. But as far as whether we are going to miss him in the Premier League and the Fantasy Premier League, we doubt that we will do that. We're always counting on his ability to deliver from penalty kicks and to always deliver the goods for Brentford. All of those ones will be very hard to replace right now.
Thank you, Arajide. Well detailed again. I know it's going to be someone we miss. I think somehow Brentford have been able to move past him. What really helped was also the fact that last season he missed practically almost 6 months, if my memory serves me right. I mean, didn't play for a larger part of the season anyway. So they've been able to try. A whole lot of change information with Wissa and Mbemo up front, and they started the season the same way too. Anyways, we are good to go. So moving forward, let's jump right straight to game week 3 performance review. Looking at what happened in game week 3, there were interesting performance. Of course, the biggest conversation have been how Haaland and Salah did aura for aura. That's the lingua franca on the street right now. Aura for aura,
Yeah,
pomo for pomo,
exactly. I agree with
pomo for pomo.
that.
What my Haaland can
and,
do, your Salah can do better.
and interestingly, even after the completion of the game week 3, both players are currently leveled at 41 points. So
Yes.
I think there's no better way to capture it than to say aura for aura.
Right. I'm trying to just look at the screen to see the best assets for the week, and you can have it. As you can see, we have Alisson Becker with that amazing clean sheet away to Manchester United. I mean, surprise picks in defense. We all knew that out of the entire matches that happened over the weekend, only one clean sheet was recorded. So it's unsurprising that point returns at the back were not from clean sheet but from attacking returns. But do you think we need to start moving away from clean sheet mindset to attacking return mindset for defenders?
I think that's a tough one. You have to look at it in the grand scheme of isolating even the game week 3 itself. I think it's a game week that is looking more like an arbitration from the normal trend. Before that game week, we've had Arsenal keep clean sheet, right? We've had Liverpool keeping clean sheet. We've had, even Manchester United, as poor as they have been lately, they even kept a clean sheet in their first game of the season at home to Fulham. We've had Even Manchester City kept a clean sheet at Stamford Bridge away to Chelsea. You had Nottingham Forest keeping clean sheet at some point. So what happened in game week 3? In terms of the defensive outlays of things, right? I want to read very little meaning into that as far as defensive assets are concerned. The truth of the matter is that the creme de la creme of the league are still going to be doing their stuff. So when it comes to keeping it tight at the back, when I check the statistics, right, when it comes to the expected goal conceded, you see that things like it will surprise you that Manchester City are ranking very high, or maybe not surprising entirely when you look at how very intentional and how very detailed to attention somebody like Godola can be in terms of making the team work and making sure everybody is on the same wavelength. Following team to that is Liverpool with an expected goal considered of 2.5, and you would probably be wild now when I tell you the third best in terms of expected goal considered. It is Nottingham Forest, and they are well joined. They are well joined on joint points with Liverpool as well, followed by Chelsea at 3.9, and same goes for 3.9 with Fulham. All of these are pointing to the fact that some of these defenses are still very much proven, but you've just had a game week whereby almost everything was going to work against the defenders. As a matter of fact, Southampton could, have even ensured that Brentford kept a clean sheet, if not for that very wonderful goal by Sugawara with barely the last kick of the match. Maybe we wouldn't be having this subject conversation if Brentford had kept that clean sheet. So I think it's just for us to keep our, fingers crossed and monitor the events over the next couple of game weeks. Don't forget that it's just the start of the season. We've just negotiated the first 3 games of the season, and we're going for an international break now. We're going to see a whole lot of dynamics that will come into the play by the time we'll come back from the international break. But I want to, just keep the fingers crossed and see how some of these defenders perform the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Babajide. So, game week 3 was awesome, and we have an awesome manager in the studio today. When we say FA money, when we say FA, you say money.
Really?
When we say FA, you say FPL points. When you say FA, you say manager of the
money.
Don't start.
So in the studio, we are honored to have a manager of the month for the month of August. FA, introduce yourself to the family.
Hi, family.
If we start from the beginning, no.
No. You don't do this. Okay. I'm not putting FA money, but this is FA. And it's most times, I think the exciting part about FPL is how people are always shocked that, oh, you are a female, or you are why you involved in a male sport. But I think the good thing about FPL, it has evolved over the years, and there are more females joining. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to be in this amazing group.
Good to have you. Amazing. Good to have you, Ife. Interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. Welcome, Ife. I mean, Ife had 254 points in 3 game weeks, averaging it 5 per week. I mean, the highest. It was a close, keenly contested, and we have the person who pushed Ife to the wall in the studio this evening as well. We have Farouk joining us this evening. Hi, Farouk. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How is everyone? FA money, I greet.
I accept.
I greet and I remain loyal.
So the part I'm actually waiting for in this segment is that I know Farouk, in your heart of hearts, you are not happy with Efe, and I'll tell you why. Manager of the month, she pipped you by how many points? Is it 3 or 5 points? Manager of the month, if not for the grace of God, she will have won this from you.
Exactly.
So what do you have to say? I know.
Double honors. If they won't read me now. No. Seriously, for the fact that, in fact, I was already calling myself manager of the week at the same time manager of the month, because as at Saturday, I was stopping. Sunday, before the end of the game week, when I checked update, I was stopping. For me to just go and see at the end of the day the updates, somebody just come. If it just came from behind, and it was a very good comeback. And in fact, I am not happy, but I am happy that it was tough. I was on my toes throughout.
At least you confess that you are not happy. Don't worry.
At all.
Maybe if
At all.
he will
Where's
put money into your pocket and
where's
to make
my
you
word? I
happy.
want to overthrow my government.
Larry, don't worry. Next game month, I'll make sure that he's happy by giving me a very long gap so that it doesn't feel funny.
It doesn't have
when I
hope,
win the next manager of the month.
I will not talk now until they invite me again.
If you take it easy,
I'll
take
be
it
there
easy.
as
Be
well.
careful. Be careful what you wish for, AFA. Just take it easy. The rest of us, we are not in the league to sell popcorn, okay?
So one word for me, if I may ask, one of the things we also want to do in this show is to also learn from amazing managers like you. If I ask you, if not interview, I mean, just want to know. I want to know, what do you think was the special thing that gave you that edge over Farouk and over every other managers last month? I know Farouk too would like to know so that affliction will not rise the second time.
I'm not going to just air on my secrets, but basically, I think for me, it's just following your instincts. I mean, everyone knows that this is not magic, and anything can happen really. So I wanted to sell Eze, and I'm like, okay, now the good thing about FPL, I can have 4 transfers, 5 transfers. So let me just leave him for another week. So sometimes once you have this instinct, just follow it, and that's what worked for me as well.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Instinct.
Awesome. So you know what that reminded of? What that reminded me of, right?
Yeah.
That's very popular video that I saw recently of Eric Ten Hag of Manchester United. And then when they ask that what his plan is, he said we have to stick to the plan. We have to stick to the plan. And then when it was asked what the plan was, he said the plan is huge. So we have to stick to the plan and then we have to bounce back. So I think it's a very interesting one. I think it also takes quite a lot of patience, right, in terms of sticking to the plans, especially because some of these assets could be very frustrating in terms of their very low point returns. Also you have the opportunity of really activating your transfer and bringing in somebody that is proven to be on fire. It takes some level of discipline and some level of perseverance to want to hold on to an asset that is not necessarily performing. So I think
and a mixture of luck.
Exactly. And yeah, there's that, of course, with FPL, there's that element of luck that always comes with it. But you also do not want luck to take the place of expertise. So Ife and Farouk, we give you your flower. You guys are the star. Okay, I don't know if I can use star boys because we have somebody that is not a man. But permit me to say you are the star managers for the week. We celebrate.
King.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
can go.
Star managers.
Yes. You can say super.
Awesome. So now that we have this amazing couple of people in the show, I want to start talking about GW4. I know this month is gone, right? But I'm far behind. I want to recover. So let's start talking about GW4. The biggest battle has been Alan versus Salah. Who to pick? Is it Alan? Is it Salah? Do you do your setup? My own approach was Alan and Salah should just go and rest. He's getting old. But look at what is happening at 41 points, aura for aura. So for people like me now that I have white card, do you think it's the right time for me to start using my white card? I know, Babaji, you activated your own last game week, right? And I don't know if it was a good point report for you. Only you can tell. Efe, you have yet to do that, and also Falk, yet to do that. Mayor, you're also contemplating. So do you think it's the right time to use wild card? And what do you have to say about Alan versus Salah? I'll just in the background taking the notes.
Well, for me, I think wildcard, it depends on the perspective that you see these things. For me, wildcard is not for you to amaze super points in that game week that you want to use the wildcard. For me, that's how I've been using my wildcard throughout my FPL seasons. I use wildcard to just readjust my team and give it time. So there's high possibility that those you are bringing in when you are playing your wildcard might not give you the expected returns. But does that mean that your wildcard choice is wrong? No, for me, because those if they didn't give you the expected result that game week, going forward, maybe next game week and another game week, they will turn up. It's just for you to adjust your team. And secondly, what I will tell you is no matter what, if you're going to steal money, you have to bring Haaland and Salah. No matter what.
I agree.
I wasn't expecting that quote.
At the end
No
of the
matter what.
day, right? At the end of the day, those two players will deliver. You know, I was on the show last week and I was telling everybody that I figured out a way to bring Salah into my team. After we left the studio, for some strange reason, I decided to do something else. And for that reason, I'm not going to speak on this show anymore because I feel very terrible. I've been
You
doing
can't run
all
anywhere, you know.
experiments. I think the time for experimentation is over. We need to start playing FPL. Like our life depends on it.
Okay. So Alan Salah find a way around it. He have had it for the maestro himself. Maestro Farouk has said, if you have to steal, so you have to go and borrow Lapo. Make sure that you have Alan and Salah in your team. How managers want to do it, I don't even know. Because for people who have heavily invested, well, except for Wildcard anyways, I think Wildcard is the only way you can have both of them and start afresh. Right? I think that's the way to go. So game week 4 fixtures are quite interesting. Quite interesting. Let me just pull them up so we can begin to talk about who to pick, players to or fixtures to target. Just give it a second. Let me bring that up right now. Okay, I think I have it now.
Well, for me, can I go? Okay, it's the money. Let's hear from the money. I want to steal a secret.
No. No, please. Well, I think I have to be very selfish. I think one thing about it basically that we're all aware that with time everybody will start having similar templates. So it's just this initial stage that we work on everything. So for me, I feel that it is actually very wrong, as in you're very wrong not to have Salah and Haaland. But for this game week 4, my strategy, I'll probably use a chip. I'm not going to say which one, so that I don't have my people that are following me. We'll probably use a chip. Then
Use game week 4. Use chip.
yes.
Interesting.
Oh,
Interesting
sorry, I
stuff.
said it out
Or I
loud.
might
Sorry,
not.
I was just writing.
No. Okay, it's fine. You don't have to take the cut off. It's fine.
No, so I might or I might not, but I feel that this game week is actually going to be it's going to be challenging per se because we're having Arsenal Spurs. I mean, we all know what's going to happen. I just feel that this game week is just for us to just take initiative. For me, I'm just going to go with my instincts as usual, and I hope I come up top.
Okay, FA instinct.
Fantastic.
Babajide, we have
Fantastic.
interesting fixture. I think my own pick of the week in terms of the fixtures is Liverpool Nottingham Forest. I know it was quite a tough fixtures last week, but I feel like with the form Liverpool is right now, is a fixture that will be high scoring, and Liverpool are set with feast. That's my thoughts. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, for game week 4, right, I think
Yes.
I want to encourage managers to exercise a little bit of patience because of the peculiarity of this particular game week. And what makes it peculiar is because of the forthcoming imminent international break, right? So you do not want to put yourself in a situation where you've already activated the transfer, and then unluckily that person gets injured during the break, and it means you have to take an unavoidable hit to correct that. I mean, to course correct that decision. So just we want to, as much as possible, take it easy, right? For the fixture that you have identified, Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest, without a doubt, Liverpool are very well on song. Like I pointed out in the studio in the last week, right? The guys are fired up. They're trying as much as possible to make the absence of Jurgen Klopp not to be felt. And they want to make the settlement of Arne Slot to be as quick as possible. Because, come on, what better way can the fans take into a new manager than for you to start getting results? They've played 3, they've won 3. They have a perfect record alongside Manchester City. They've obliterated all forms of challenges on their way right now. But in terms of how challenging the fixture of Nottingham Forest could be against them, I think you just have to be very careful alongside that point too. Like I said earlier on, from game week 1 to game week 3, in terms of expected goal conceded, Nottingham Forest rank the third highest team, right, behind Liverpool and Manchester City. So you want to, as much as possible, be sure that you are not shooting yourself at the foot. when you now look at the firepower of Liverpool at home, right? The last home fixture that they played, which was the first home fixture of Arne Slot with Liverpool, was against Brentford, and in that very match, they had against Brentford, who rank as 16th team in terms of expected goal conceded, with 40 scoring chances already conceded, right? And maybe that's also a key thing to note when you look at Man City versus Brentford, right? Brentford keeps giving away a whole lot of chances, and they most likely are going to cause you some problems up front, but in terms of their defensive lapses, it's something that you can profit from. So as far as Nottingham Forest is concerned, you have to be very sure that that is where you're putting your money, where your heart lies. But let's just see how it goes. It promises to be a very interesting fixture, and we'll see how it goes. But maybe Ladley, right? If I can just maybe just now look at it, the peculiarity of game week 4 as well. I think it's a very peculiar game week again, and I keep saying that because of the mini fixture swing. A lot of managers came into the season with, quite a couple of Arsenal assets because of the fixture trend at that point in time. A lot of managers also put a lot of faith in Man City assets, right? With some even doubling up on Man City defense at some point with Rico Lewis and Josko Gvardiol and maybe Erling Haaland up front. But this time around, there's a slight fixture switch. Arsenal are going to be traveling to Tottenham and Man City in a back-to-back fixture. So that means that if you're loaded up on Arsenal defense, you need to be very careful around that side and see how you can look for a way out of that. And if you're also somebody that has maybe a Brentford defender, unavoidably, a lot of us have, Mark Flecken as our goalkeeper. Brentford are going to be traveling to Man City and Tottenham in a back-to-back fixture. So these are, minor and very, very peculiar things that you have to look around how you want to manage them. And on the other side of it, in terms of those that, have fixtures that you can really target in the next 4 to 5 game weeks, I believe a lot of managers will most likely be activating their wildcard at the completion of the international break to try to at least. We now have a lot of statistics. I mean, to some extent, we have some stats that we can base our decisions on. We are better informed also in terms of what our eye test has shown to us. So some of the decisions you want to look at right now, there are things that you're making from a place of you already having an awareness of what's going to happen. So which are the clubs that you want to really target? Yes, are the obvious ones, the Liverpool of this world. In the next 5 game weeks that Liverpool have, Nottingham, Bournemouth at home, Watford and Crystal Palace away, they average, a fixture difficulty rating of barely 2.2 in that. So at this point in time, it's not a bad time to maybe have a double or triple Liverpool assets considering those fixtures. You understand? And for those that do not even mind the fact that Chelsea may not be there yet, right? In terms of fixture difficulty rating, it ranks at barely 2.3 for Chelsea as well, with traveling trips to Bournemouth and West Ham, and then playing a home fixture to Brighton and Nottingham Forest. Just that, like I said in the last show, you want to be very careful around loading up on Chelsea assets at this point, because the manager is still trying to tweak a whole lot of things sometimes and see how he can settle down on his preferred 11. Also, you want to, for those that have not given up hope on Watkins, Aston Villa is also going to at least have a very, very huge favor in terms of their fixture swap. This time around, they're going to have Everton and Wolves at home, and the troubles of Everton are well documented, right? As a matter of fact, for those that do not even mind the fact that Watkins has blanked for the first 3 game weeks, maybe you want to take the risk of captaining him against Everton. I mean, signs are pointing to the fact that you may not go wrong with that. They will have Wolves at home, Ipswich away. All of these fixtures show you the kind of template you may want to now begin to tailor your decisions on for the next 5 game weeks, for the next 6 game weeks. Man City is always going to be Man City with Haaland dominating everywhere and against anyone. So those are the things that you want to try as much as possible to study. And then I say again, before you activate that transfer or maybe your any of the chips, you want to wait for the players to come back from the international break. It was just yesterday we're even getting to hear that Cole Palmer and Watkins and Foden, they have left the camp of the English team because of one injury concern or the other. Trust me, experience tells us that you get to hear a lot of that during international break. So let's just see how things go, and then we can always at least take our decisions based on all those information available to us.
Amazing. Thank you, Baba. Very detailed as always. I don't know what we'll do on this show without your start attack. So for people who miss out on this show, you're missing a lot. Just ensure you are always available to join us weekly, 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, right? So I also like to throw it open to people, our listeners, our viewers. So if you have any questions or clarification or anything about FPL that you'd like to ask any of our managers in the studio this evening, please drop it in the chat section. We'll definitely bring it up and talk about it. Right. So we've talked about fixtures to target. One more thing that I think we also need to properly deliberate about is around transfers. We've talked about chip. We've talked about wildcard usage. Right. We've talked about fixtures to target. But the next one I really want us to talk about is transfers, especially for people who may not be able to use their chips, actually wildcard, or they've used this and they pick the wrong sets of players. So who are the key players that you think you have to have it for the next few games considering FDL? Off the top of my head, I can think of Salah, in my opinion. Salah and they are, of course, we've mentioned them before. So all those assets that are budget friendly, probably differentials, right? I was looking at my team last week, and I saw that I didn't have a lot of differentials. It was almost close to templates, and I felt that maybe by that differential, maybe it would have helped me. And there are a couple of them coming up already. So some, I think two managers did transfer of Umbuemo. Umbuemo is not that popular, right? And he returned, I think, 15 points, right? So how can managers stay ahead of the curve, having keen eyes for assets like that? Who are those assets that they need to start looking out for? About I'm going to come back to you. Then if you are still available, please feel free to chime in. Faru, feel free to chime in. It's an open conversation.
Yeah. I'm still here. So for me, when it comes to transfer, there's something that Ife said, and I think everybody knows that. Stick to your instincts. Just, you see, that instinct is very important. And what you talked about, differentials are very important. Like for me, I have a wood, and I followed my instinct from beginning of the season that no, this is the differential I want to like. Low budget is budget friendly, and being him is a very good attacker. So I think he can score just anyone. No defender. I don't think there is a team that will say he cannot score. The kind of attacker I know he is. I watch his football. You understand?
So which player is that?
Wood.
Oh, okay. Yes, you have Wood in your team. I mean, that's
I have Wood in my team, and all the game which he has turned up.
That's true.
Yes.
That's very correct, actually.
Yes, so for him being an attacker, that they must start, he must play. So I think he has a chance of scoring at any time. And secondly, like for after the international break, as to what Mayo said, managers should take it easy. I don't think I want to use my chips now. I still feel my team is still good. I can still trust the team I have. I will do one transfer. I've not decided yet. I have one transfer and I will do that, but I've not decided yet. I'm looking at a differential. Somebody with a very reasonable budget. In case when I want to activate my white card going forward, I'll have enough budget to play around. So I think the best of all is after following features and match difficulty, follow your instinct.
Thank you. Looking at, attacker, I just had to quickly check the attacking return so far. Oh my guys, you won't believe the asset I'm seeing there. What if I told you that Nicholas Jackson is currently the top 8 best returning asset as a forward so far this season? Right? So of course, Alan is 41. Welbeck is second. Kai Havertz, interestingly, is third with 22. Wissa Wood follows. Then we have here Pedro, that is one of the most popular forward assets, as well as Nicolas Jackson on 18 points. Jackson is 7.6 anyways, and Yao Pedro give you better value for money. But you could imagine you having Nicolas Jackson as well. So I think it's just to underline what you have said, Farouk, that sometimes you just have to look outside the usual suspects and trust the least picked assets. And looking at Chelsea, I mean, Jide mentioned Chelsea earlier. He was talking about their fixtures being juicy, why they may not be good overall as a team. But somehow Jackson has been in the mix. I think he has scored 3 goals this season. I'm not sure many strikers can point to scoring 3 goals in 3 game weeks, right? I stand corrected if it's up to 3 goals, but I think so.
No, he scored 2 actually.
2, okay.
He scored in back-to-back fixtures, notably.
Yes. And it looks like that attack by Mikel Obi was all he needed to come to life. Maybe Mikel should be pumped more fire into his bomb, right? And of course, the Smith Saga did not help him. Brother was like, come on, how will I come and start your pink bench? he picked up straight up, so right. So attacking strikers, yes, they are the way to go. So which other players do you think we need to probably consider again? I mean, let's talk transfers. Let's move from attackers. What of midfielders? Which other midfielders are budget friendly that we need to expect? I mean, I want us to mention them.
Yeah, for me, based on the future difficulty, I'm looking at Mitoma. My one transfer, I'm thinking, I want to trust him. I want to. My instinct is telling me to go with Mitoma. So I think, and he has quite. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So my instinct is telling me to go with Mitoma. So I think I've not decided yet, but I think I will go with Mitoma. Which one?
Okay, Mitoma. Babajide, which other midfielder do you think is worthy as we round up this section?
Okay, maybe just a particular popular quote that I came across in FPL World. It says that template players will win you game weeks, but defenders will win you the season. And when you look at the top performance this season, in Belmo at 7.7 million, of course, we've spoken about him already on 24 points. Wisa at also, I mean, 7 points, I beg your pardon, at 7.7% ownership, same as Wisa, right? Both on 24 and 21 points. Son at less than 10%, 9.3% ownership. Also, I have 21 points already. Onana of Aston Villa as well. A lot of people have not even looked at his side, but he's slightly going through the radar. It costs barely 5.
It's not Onana. Please, PTSD wants to eat Mayor right now. It's not your Onana. It's not your Onana.
It's not the Onana at. It's not the Onana at 77 goals.
Wow, that was below the belt. That was below the belt.
You know, that's Amadou Onana too. It's done pretty well, and it's relatively cost 5.1 million. A lot of eyes we have been looking at, maybe Emil Smith Rowe, Rogers of Aston Villa, forgetting that this is somebody that is also doing fairly well. And you have Antoine Semenyo of Bournemouth as well. Ownership of 4.8%, and he's racked up 19 points already with 2 goals and 1 assist. And Chris Wood has also spoken about. These are very popular choices that are flying under the radar. And when you look at even the managers that have done fairly well at the start of the season, you would either have 1 or 2 of these guys. Maybe not at the same time, but at some point you would have had them and getting that very juicy point from them. For me, for now, I think in terms of what the fixture trend looks like, I think I want to look at the side of Minte of Brighton. Is either you go for Minte or you probably consider somebody in the shape of Welbeck as well. These are choices that you're sure, especially because of their fixture. Brighton is going to be playing at home against Ipswich and Nottingham Forest. And the good part of it against Ipswich is that as far as expected goal considered is concerned, Ipswich rank as the 28th team in the league right now.
Wow.
The expected goal considered after 3 matches is standing at 7.8 goals. And that is why they considered heavily against Manchester City, right? They considered against at home, they considered 2 goals at home to Liverpool as well. And then the last match against Fulham, they also couldn't get that maximum point. So all of these are what you need to look at in terms of who you want to target and which club they also play for.
Okay, amazing. So looking at that, so fixtures to target. I think Ipswich is playing away to Brighton. So we know Brighton has started the season on fire, unbeaten so far, 7 points from 9. I think they sit joint 4th or joint third. My memory is something like so. you want to now bank on your Brighton assets. We've talked about you have Pedro, we have Welbeck too, seems to have found a new lease of life, and Mitoma, who is also leading from the flank for Brighton this season. Good. So finally, on this part of the show, before we round off today, do we really want to talk about captain picks now? Captain picks. So we have Sheon Ogunshola in the comments also mentioned talking about Semenyo. Yes, we've talked about Semenyo. Yes, amazing player that should not be overlooked. And Sheon has also mentioned Minte, Babajide. I've talked about him, even though Babajide does not like him. Babajide, so they know that you don't like this guy, that you feel like he's too raw. But I saw he was very lively against Arsenal, right? So I feel it's someone that people should actually look out for. Is someone that would come to life probably against Ipswich as well. So captain picks, me, I'm not going to run away from Haaland, right? Haaland is the way for me, and I mean back-to-back hat-trick. I don't think I want to sway away from Haaland. Haaland is playing Brentford. I know last season, Brentford had been a thorn in the flesh for Man City. I think they lost at home to Brentford, not 2-0 last season, and it's always a struggle for them to beat Brentford at the Etihad. So it's going to be quite an interesting game. So if you don't have Salah like I don't, I think Haaland is the way to go for me. So I don't know about you.
When in doubt.
When it does cap Haaland, Abi, so you can
No,
see
now
people
it's
already talking
Salah.
from the progression that Haaland is the way to go. Anyway, so I don't know what you think.
Haaland.
or Salah.
Haaland, you mean?
In Haaland, you trust.
Well,
So I'm
in,
going
the,
to
in this
captain
coming
Salah.
game week, are you sure you don't want to go with for those of us that have Salah? I mean, Salah, Liverpool is playing
No, you can
against
just
Nottingham
captain
Forest.
Haaland.
Salah, I think
Yes,
I'll go.
Salah. Yes, I think that's
Okay,
also
Salah,
better.
Abi.
I'm always
Salah.
very,
Haaland.
I'm always very biased when Man City is playing Brentford. So that's why I'm really still stuck between if I should as hope for another hat trick or just go with my instincts. But like I've been going with my instincts, I'll probably go with a Salah against Nottingham Forest.
Anyways, whether you go with this or not, these guys are still doing order for order. Now, have you forgotten?
Well,
So you don't have to worry. Pick one and you're gonna sleep.
No, coincidentally, at the start of the season, when I saw Salah, and I was like, where's the hair? You know, he's looking very serious. Now I understand why he was looking very serious.
Me, I thought it was a Samson situation. No, that after his ears was cut off, he lost his power, so I didn't buy him. I didn't know that this guy had
He
other
was
plans.
looking very, as in now I understand that he was determined.
not to give
Yeah,
up.
when you also add that he's also
Yeah.
come out to say this may possibly be his last season with Liverpool, so he
Mhm,
has
mhm.
that enthusiasm and he has that determination to want to live on a high note. He said it at the completion of the last game that yes, he's waited all along for the club management to come up with a proposition of an extension to his deal, but nobody has come out to say anything yet. So maybe that is a sign that it's time for him to at least look at the next challenge and then jump somebody like Jurgen Klopp as well and live on a very high note. So yes, maybe a hairless Salah is a dangerous Salah, pretty much.
Yes, Salah is a
Hold on,
dangerous
hold
Salah.
on,
Do we
all
all agree?
All these rhymes, I don't know where you guys are getting it from.
Word on the apple.
That is why you need to be on our show, right?
I know, I
to get
need
all
to.
these guys. Yeah.
No, but for someone like Efe that's been with us from the very beginning, I don't see why Efe cannot always just come and spill some wisdom for us on
No,
a
Yeah.
I'm selfish. I'm very selfish.
Okay, so
It's worrying me.
Okay, yes, if you can still go ahead. Yeah.
I said it's the worry girl in me. I'm very selfish. I don't want to spill some things down. I'll not have competitors like that. I'm packing that thing. With me.
Nah, it's a free market now. It's a free market.
But only
It's
one
a free
winner.
Well, you can say argue that we're all winners. There's some people
Wow.
at the
Yeah,
end
we're all
actually come
winners,
and contribute to our
even those of us that
effort
have
in
to carry
the
the
league.
table. Well,
Someone like Mayor now, we can say he's winning from the bottom, you know.
Well,
So we're
No,
all
so-
winners on this.
So I've actually been asking myself, what do I need to do? Because I need to be impressive this season to fall into the bracket I usually fall. I don't know who told me to gamble the first few game weeks, but let's see how the coming weeks go.
That you'll be back again.
Do I have a choice at this point?
be determined.
I'll be back. Okay,
Well,
okay. So people the comments are coming in. Salah Alan, Egyptian king is lethal. If you have
Why
been
not?
told not to hold update, to drop update. If you drop update, drop update. Don't chop a load. Don't chop a load. Okay.
I'll
So
try.
moving on to a very interesting part of the segment. Probably the work will be taking us through this. So the news that came out yesterday is that Luis Suarez has finally retired, and we know how amazing he was during his I mean, he's been as a footballer. I mean, he's had a remarkable career from Ajax to Liverpool to Barcelona to Atletico Madrid. He's been there doing it. And of course, for people like us who started FPL quite late, we couldn't really enjoy him during his days in FPL. But of course, I would like us to talk about him on this show. So, Babajide, I'll leave you to lead the way with this. So you can give us those your start attacks again on why Luis Suarez is unarguably the third best goal scorer in the world behind Messi and Ronaldo. So people argue it's Benzema. So people argue even Lewandowski is better. But in my head, off the top of my head, I think if you want to rank it, I would say Ronaldo, Messi, whichever order you want to put those two. Then you can have Luis Suarez, then Aguero, then you can have probably Benzema, Lewandowski. But then, Babajide, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Lanre. Luis Suarez, a very divisive centre-forward figure in the game of football. It's popularly called El Pistolero, which means the gunman, and you can always see that sense of marksmanship in him whenever he gets to goal scoring positions. In terms of his greatness, I don't think that one is arguable. But in terms of how he divides opinion, I'm not sure that will go away anytime soon. The 37-year-old has been a very crucial part of the Uruguayan side. Of course, he represented them at 4 different World Cups, starting from South Africa 2010, which a lot of people will remember for that. His very comic handball against Ghana, which would have ensured that Ghana proceeded to the semi-final of the World Cup, being the first African nation before Morocco later did that. And of course, he was also there at Brazil 2014, Russia 2018, and then the last one at Qatar 2022, when you can argue that at that point in time, at 35, he was always almost at the swan song of his footballing career for the national team. In terms of his exploits, in the Premier League, definitely, you can't rule that out. Even in 2013-2014, which was unarguably his greatest season with Liverpool, remember that time that he got 31 goals, right, in 33 appearances for Liverpool, and he won the Premier League highest goal scorer award without any question or without any doubt. And what makes it even nice is the fact that he did that without scoring any single penalty kick in that.
Yeah.
And of course, for Uruguay still, it's been to 4 different Copa Americas, 2011, 2015, 2016, and 2019. And the first one that he partook in, which was in 2011 on the Argentine soil, he scored 4 goals to make sure that Uruguay won that Copa America title. So it's greatness for both the national team and in terms of his club career, which has spanned across Ajax to Liverpool, to Barcelona, to Atletico Madrid, before he decided to jump ship to America to join the MLS, and then currently now at Grêmio in Brazil. All of those records are well documented. For Liverpool, he scored 69 goals and 23 assists in 110 appearances, making 92 goal contribution. For Barcelona, he got a whooping 209 goals out of 304 appearances. And there was even a season for Barcelona, right, in 2015-2016 seasons, where he got almost 60 goals in all competitions. He got 59 goals that time. And then comfortably, he won the Pichichi Award and he won even the European highest goal scoring award that time. So you can't but reckon with the greatness of Luis Suarez. But as much as we always talk about that, there's also that bite against Patrice
exactly.
Evra.
I was waiting for you to get to that fight.
There's also that bite issue against Giorgio Chiellini at the World Cup. So all of these are part of things that makes him to be a divisive figure in the world of football. But as far as his greatness in front of goal is concerned, that is definitely unarguable, and he would rank as one of the top goal scorers that the football world has ever witnessed.
You can say that again. I mean, for me, it was very controversial. Even prior to the Giorgio Chiellini one, there was the one with Evra, Patrice Evra, that saw him got banned for pretty much similar part of the season. Had taken a Clasico, so he had the good side and back. And interestingly, even at Ajax, he also had that biting issue. So probably it's a bad habit that he found a way to get over after he gets Barcelona. I mean, there's no record of him, but he beat in Ajax, he beat in Liverpool, he beat in the World Cup with Uruguay. He decided not to bite in Barcelona. Maybe they gave him something, I don't know, or maybe they gave him a therapist, whichever it is. But the interesting part for me, right, for Luis Suarez actually is how prolific he was during his Premier League era from FPL point of view, right? I'm going to share something right now. We'll look at it. No FPL asset ever have hit the height that Luis Suarez hit in 13-14 season. Is the highest scoring aside Mo Salah anyways. We have Mo Salah who hit 303 points in 17-18 season. But prior to that was Luis Suarez 295 points in 13-14 season. Right? I mean,
that's the season that he scored that 31 goals.
Yes. So
very huge.
The interesting part was that aside this start, we have big guys there. We have the Hazard, Mahrez. He is one of the only 3 FPL assets that has had this much record in FPL season. This double figures in goals and assists, right? In the same season. Henry, back then in 2003, we have Luis Suarez who hit that same. So in that same season, 2013-2014, and of course, Oluwaseyi's doing the same magic last season. So he's an amazing person, right? Before we round off, I know Luis Suarez is great, Agbabola. Another question that came up in my head that we've really lost some great FPL assets in so far. I mean, since we all started playing this game, I remember that aside players like Suarez, there's guys that actually lit up our season that were like they saved our season. I'd like us to actually mention those kind of assets that they are not popular, not the popular ones. They are not popular that saved your season in particular season. Off the top of my head, I remember Lundstram of I think Sheffield United. That guy that was supposedly a winger or a midfielder that was
popularly called Lord Lundstram.
Yes. I mean, those are the kind of assets I think they lit up FPL, our FPL world. I don't know if there's any other player that comes to your mind like that you know that since you started playing this game, they've pretty much helped you survive a particular season. But do you have any other suggestion like that? Any other player?
Yes, he left the Premier League not quite long ago. But at that time, when they did the unthinkable with Claudio Ranieri at Leicester City, Mahrez was a beast to reckon with. He and Jamie Vardy literally destroyed the entire league. And that season, it was a beast. You had to have Mahrez and Vardy. And as far as history goes, Mahrez will also always rank as high as possible for me.
Mahrez, do you have any assets?
Assets that saved me. There was a time when I was contemplating on whether or not to play FPL. Right, one player that always just stood out is a star player, by the way. So it's not like he's made difference.
Okay.
But for me, it was always like, if I had this guy in my team and I'm playing this, I would do well. That was Rooney. No matter how badly, Man U was playing or how well they were playing, he always just racked up points. And I would say the same happened to Bruno when Bruno started. I didn't pick up on how well Bruno was doing for a very long time. So he didn't save my season. It was the person that I was biting my finger that I wasn't paying a lot of attention to, because Bruno came in and was just raking in points.
Great. Bruno and Rooney sticking to Manchester United picks.
As always.
No, that's why we are where you are today now. Better move on to the better side.
Stick to the plan. We want to stick to the plan.
If who do you have for us as we wrap up today? If you do have any picks?
Yeah, I think I will still go with Rooney because I'm just, as Mayo spoke, I was just trying to think about it too, and that really hits one for me. So I think I'll go with Rooney. At some point, I felt Rashford had a lot of potential too, but he was actually raking up points and all. But right now, story for another day. But I think I would actually go with Rooney.
Great. Thank you. Amazing pick. Honorable mention to me, lowly owned asset to me is Dallas of Lee City, Dallas of that year. That last
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
All right. It's been an amazing time in the studio. I mean, it almost feels like we should continue and not end, but sometimes good things come to an end. We need to bring the show to an end. We are past time already, so I must say thank you all to our amazing guests in the studio today. Babajide, Mr. Mayor, Farouk, who has left, and of course Efe. Thank you for making this show, today's edition, amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you. I don't know if you have any last word, Babajide, for our team viewers. Last word.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. It's an honor to do this with you again. And we wish our listeners and all our fans, we wish them the best of the international break. Stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, last words.
Yes, if you've not subscribed to our channel, I think this is the best time to do it. Like and subscribe. We do this because we love the game of football, and we hope to be able to share our passion with everybody. Thank you, and see you in our next stream.
Great. Efe, parting words?
Please encourage more women to buy into FPL. It's an exciting thing to love football. And if you're a woman, just get someone to explain it and you'll see how much you love it. And subscribe to all our channels, follow us. Glad to join our league next season.
Yeah.
Fun.
Thank you, Efe. Yes, you can follow us on our Instagram page at FPL Radio, or on X, formerly known as Twitter, at FPL Radio _. Subscribe and propagate this gospel of FPL that we have brought to you. So until we come your way again, enjoy the beautiful game of FPL. Remember, it's just a game. Don't take it to heart. Enjoy the international break. Have time to rejig, replan, re-strategize, and come back fresher. So it's bye for now.
Stand tall and so proud. FPL our shroud in this fantasy crowd. In that FPL Romeo, we play the game. Fantasy football, the road to fame. We talk stats, we talk goals. Building teams to reach our goals. Every week we make our picks. Playing insights, all the slick tricks. Got my squad ready to compete. Riding high, never face defeat. FPL Rodeo, we ride insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase. Out the lead, we own the space. Talking phone, we break it down. In this league, we're wearing crowns. Who's important, who's lost pace? Pick the best, never a waste. Bet your play, navigate with ease. Winning squads, that's our breeze. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride.